Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Theater of Football. I am Mike Hodem, and I'm joined by Patrick Heinrich. Hello, Patrick.
Hello, Mike. Hello, everybody.
Yes,
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. We have a lot to get to, Patrick.
Yeah.
We're going to be
Packed
discussing.
agenda.
Yes, we're going to be discussing City. We'll be discussing Liverpool. We'll be discussing United's match with Liverpool in the FA Cup on Sunday. But first, let's fall back to what we know and talk a little bit about United's match with Fulham on Wednesday. Beautiful strike by Paul Pogba to win the match, wasn't it?
Brilliant. Amazing.
Yes.
I don't know what coaches have been feeding him the last 2 weeks, but they need to buy a bunch of it.
But it's funny you talk about the coaches and bring up Paul Pogba. And I saw an article today on the Daily Mail talking about Darren Fletcher. He's been in the first team coaching fold for a few weeks now, and they claim that he's coaching up Pogba. He's telling him what to do. I don't know.
Darren Fletcher is the Pogba whisperer.
Yeah, I don't know. He hasn't been around very long.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily attribute his uptick in form to Fletcher. Although I don't know what goes on the training ground, but it felt like an article, a typical tabloid article of trying to big up someone trying to make some news where maybe there isn't any.
Yeah. Well, it's also everyone likes to cry correlation immediately when something happens, but you need to give it time. And then it's if everyone's in agreement that, oh, Darren Fletcher has made this huge difference in Pogba's play style, then Pogba goes down the tube in the next 4 games and everyone's Darren's the worst, he's terrible. It's you got to give it a little bit, because who knows what there's definitely a complicated factors at play, but maybe Fletcher is speaking to Pogba in his own terms. Maybe he can connect with him a little bit better, but I don't think he's solely responsible for his turn in the last 3 games.
No, I mean, the article also said something about that he's been working closely with midfielders, and that's funny because I feel like Fred hasn't exactly played very well in the past few weeks himself. Yeah. So we can praise Darren Fletcher for Pogba, I guess, but I'm gonna knock him back a peg for Fred's performances.
Yeah. So all in all, he's still neutral because he's new.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that article was funny. I didn't really give too much credence to it or validity, but
yeah,
you never know. Maybe he is doing something with Pogba to help Pogba out. I do know that Pogba has been playing quicker lately. My main criticism with him has been that he holds the ball up too much, and I feel like he's making decisions faster. He's not taking as many touches on the ball. He's keeping the ball moving more efficiently. And I mean, he's scored a couple goals now in the past couple weeks, so that always helps too. But I don't think that necessarily, at least my rating of him isn't necessarily attributed to his goals. I just feel like he's playing a lot better throughout the whole match.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's definitely my criticism was always that he just doesn't seem to keep pace with the game, just in the speed at which his mind is running. But it seems like now he's looking ahead, he's keeping up, he's watching for understanding the other players from the other team around him, and making faster decisions. I think he's just being a little bit more insightful in how he's thinking. And I always attributed that to, in the past, the fact that he was bored, because it didn't seem like he really cared at all. So his decisions were always make and I thought he was trying to be too methodical. So lately it's been nice to see him, I don't know, kind of loosen up and make some faster decisions and take some chances too. I mean, sometimes, the shot, his goal on at Fulham, I don't know that he would have the Pogba of several months ago, I don't know that he even would have taken that shot. And now he's awesome. He drops it right in the back of the net, in the top left corner. And it was beautiful. But I think it's just, an increase in intensity and excitement about the game.
Well, couple of the points you made, he kind of alluded to, I feel like, in his post-match interview, because he said that, first of all, he said that he, which I thought was funny, he didn't think he could uh, hit a ball like that with his left foot, which is kind of humble of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. And to your point about him maybe not taking that, he probably wouldn't have taken that shot on in years past or in even months past. But he looked up. You could see in the slow motion. They looked up, saw where the strikers were at, and had just a quick eye glance towards goal, and thought, I'm just going to have at it. And it worked out.
Yeah.
The second point you made was about him feeling bored, and he said in the interview that he's happy and that he's basically happy when he's winning.
Yeah.
And
That makes sense.
that when he's happy, he plays better, and when he's winning, it just seemed like he's more focused, and you're happier, you tend to be more focused. When you're winning, you tend to be more focused.
Yeah.
You're not going to be as bored. So when there's something there to play for every game instead of just the top four, which I think the players want to qualify for the Champions League, which is great.
Yeah.
But it means even more to you. Like, you're not going to remember, like last season, you're not going to remember, oh, Manchester United finished third in the 2019-20 season.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great year for Paul Pogba. Nothing like that. But if we were to go on to win the league this season, they'll be like, oh, United won the league in 2021, and Paul Pogba scored these, fantastic winning goals.
Yeah.
At Burnley. Okay, maybe that wasn't fantastic. It was deflected, but it was still a good technique on the volley.
Yeah.
At Fulham, people will remember that. If we go on to finish third or fourth, or heaven forbid worse, then no one's really going to care until the Premier League Twitter admin pulls up their goal of the day 8 years from now, and it's Paul Pogba's goal from the 20th of January, 2021.
Yep, for sure.
So, I think he's in a better place. That's why I like that article with Darren Fletcher. I don't necessarily attribute that to him. I just think that the team's playing better in the league, which is where you play most of your matches. So that's going to be your primary focus. And since we're actually at the top of the table now, and hopefully we'll continue pushing for a title, he will be more engaged.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember where I heard it, but I heard it once, someone saying that winning and losing are both exponential growths, where winning, you keep winning when you're winning, and when you're losing, you keep losing when you're losing. So it's just a mentality thing for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of winning exponentially, Manchester City have been doing that lately. A couple hours before kickoff, before United's kickoff with Fulham, they kicked off against Aston Villa. Sorry, and actually, Pogba was also asked about the result after the game, and he said that they knew nothing about it.
Yeah,
and the pundits were like, they're like, of course he knew about it. And I'm thinking, the game finishes like 10, 15 minutes before their match kicks off, so it's finishing right as they're about leaving the pitch, doing their pregame warm-ups. So I kind of believe Pogba. I don't think they're allowed to have their phones once they, go out on the pitch. I think it's all focused for the match.
Yep.
And then after the match, they get their phones back or whatever. So I kind of believe him that that team probably didn't know. If this was later in the season, they probably would be let know the result. But I'm going down a tangent that we don't need to bother with. The City Villa match was interesting. It was a fun watch. It got decided on a goal where a player was coming back from 20 yards offsides and picking a ball off of Tyrone Mings, which I didn't necessarily hate because I don't like Tyrone Mings. What did you make of that, Patrick?
Well, I can understand. So I understand the outcry about it, but at the same time, I also understand from a rules perspective, since Tyrone Mings played the ball, under it, resets offsides, so that makes sense to me. But there's a couple things that bother me about it. The first is Tyrone Mings just gave up the ball. Like, I mean, you can't just give up the ball in the middle of the field. And granted, Rodrigo was coming in from behind him, and he may not have seen him, or I've heard some people say that, Mings looked over and saw him, but figured he was offside, so didn't think he was eligible to really come in and get him.
Yeah.
So that, I get that, but the other part of it, the other part too, that when I look at that is, they had the opportunity to cancel that goal. I mean, the defense had the opportunity to cancel the goal. I think it was very well played after Rodrigo took the ball from him. So, I mean, I get it that it, may have given them an advantage over in the play. But I don't necessarily think that, okay, sure, according to the rules, it's technically okay. But, there was still quite a bit of opportunity for that play to be defended against.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like Rodri won the ball and then Bernardo Silva was through on goal, was it?
Right. So, yeah. I mean, there was 3 or 4 defenders around him. The strike was great. I mean, there's opportunity to have ended that play.
I hate to defend Tyrone Mings at all, but I feel like I agree. I think he knew Rodri was there.
Yeah.
And he thought he could, he'd bring the ball ball down off his chest and play a ball, and Rodri wouldn't close him down. And if he did, the linesman would flag for offsides.
Right.
And I feel like 99%, 97% of the time, that's, either Rodri wouldn't close the ball down or he does, and the linesman, raises his flag. I don't think it's right that he's 20 yards offside, jogging back onside. Tyrone Mings takes a touch off his chest, and before he can play the ball with his feet, Rodri's nipping in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's offside. That to me, that's not a new phase.
Yeah.
And that's what I guess the rule is. As soon as he touches the ball, it's a new phase. Yeah. Well, if he heads the ball back up the pitch 25 yards, then fine, new phase, whatever. But if he decides to take it down because he knows the guy behind him is 15, 20 yards offside when the ball is played forward, he should be allowed to do so. And I think that's wrong, to not give offsides. Having said that, Villa only stayed in the division last year because of a terrible, terrible malfunction of the goal line technology. Right?
You're right. That's true.
So, and I always say, I get upset with calls at the time, but then I tell myself, well, bad calls, good, bad calls for you, bad calls against you, they even themselves out.
Mm-hmm.
So in Villa perspective, I feel like maybe this is an evening out.
Yeah.
But I do feel like I feel bad for Dean Smith, the manager, because he gets sent off, and he said what he told reporters what he said after the match, and it seemed completely benign to me.
Yeah.
If he's telling the truth and he got sent off for that, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And he got big timed completely.
Yeah.
Sure. If he's not telling the truth, which I feel like he had to slip in some curse words or something, and I don't know. I just feel like he should not have seen red, because you even see him on the touch line. He wasn't very demonstrative.
Yeah.
That was so bizarre, because was it John Moss came over, showed him the yellow card, and he said something after, obviously, but he wasn't demonstrative about it or anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he said, but he didn't look like he was incensed or enraged or anything like that. And he turns around and shows him the red card. And I think the next day the FA charged Dean Smith with improper conduct too.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's gotten big timed on this. So I feel bad for him.
Yeah. If that's all he said.
Yeah.
Again. Yeah, for sure. If that's the comment, what he said, if that's all he said, then absolutely. And his comment in the post match, press conference to say that, had he been any other manager, it wouldn't have been sent off. I think that's 100% correct. But if that's all he said, so I definitely think he was definitely being big time.
Yeah, I mean, you compare him to what you see out of Jurgen Klopp on a almost 3-day, every 3 days at
Yeah.
this point. It's ridiculous that he got sent off.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, you saw Jurgen Klopp try and start a fight with the other team's manager
Yeah.
the next day,
Yeah.
and he doesn't see even a yellow card.
Yeah.
I
Or even
mean,
a notice. He could.
yeah,
I mean, it didn't have to be in the match either. He could have
he
gotten
wasn't
up.
even spoken to.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I don't get it. I do feel bad that Dean Smith got sent off. I don't necessarily feel bad for them that they had that call go against them. I mean, it sucks. I feel like it should have been offside ruling.
Yeah. The thing that I don't like about it is, and that I completely agree with, is that it does set a very bad precedent, I think, for the future, and that I think could be troublesome. So that I completely agree with. That it's, it may come up as a tactic in the future, and who knows where we'll be with that.
Yeah, I mean, Dean Smith alluded to that as well after the match, didn't he?
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be a tactic, but I think you could see some players on there. I don't want to say your players that are more inclined to cheat, but maybe more of your wily type of players who are going to, make a run, end up offsides by 10 yards, and slowly make their way back in case.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you could see that. I just think it's common sense. I don't know. It doesn't need to be a rule. It's just like offside is a rule on its own.
Yeah.
And if you end up gaining an advantage from being offsides relatively quickly like this, then it needs to be called. Now, if Tyrone Mings takes the ball off his chest, stands there with his ball at his feet, adjusts the ball a few times, and then Rodri closes him down, okay, then that's we'll just play on. But but let's talk about Jurgen Klopp, who if Dean Smith got sent off at the Etihad the night before, Thursday night, Jurgen Klopp should have been, I don't know, banned from the sport.
Yeah.
His behavior in the tunnel towards Sean Dyche. Now, and he says after the match, Jurgen, I didn't start it. And I actually do buy that, because you can see Sean Dyche walking by him, and he's moving his head and you just see the back of him, but he's moving his head like he says something to him. And knowing Sean Dyche is probably a smart aleck comment.
For sure.
But for him to set off in that type of rage at the other team's manager, and by full time they're cool.
Yeah.
Despite the result going against Jurgen, he relaxed, but he should have been gone. Like VAR, that should be something that VAR during the break should be saying to the official. Just he's acting like a Trump. Send him home.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, just if you extrapolate what happened with Dean Smith, like you said, to what Jurgen did, he should be banned for 3 months.
No joke. It's just crazy. It's almost as crazy as Liverpool fans calling into TalkSport Radio in the UK saying that Jurgen Klopp should be sacked. I don't think I would be saying that if I was there. Consider he's come off of Champions League one season, then winning the league, ending their 30-year drought the next season. I mean, I think I'd give him 2 or 3 more games before I'd sack him, right?
Yeah.
But to that point, do you think they're out of the title race? They're 6 points back of United. They're 4 points back of City, with City having a game of hand. They have Everton 2 points behind them with 2 games in hand on them. They have Spurs, I think, a point behind them with a game in hand on them.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
Well, I wouldn't count them out just yet. They definitely are poorly positioned. I agree. They definitely need to figure out what the heck is going on, immediately. especially if they can't score goals. I mean, like, you can't win the title without scoring goals. So that
Yeah.
that
Very
has to
obvious.
be
Thank you, Patrick.
imperative. And for my John Madden quote of the day, you can't win the game without scoring goals. But I do think that the opportunity has the window for this opportunity has gotten significantly narrower, especially with City doing so well, especially with United doing so well. I don't think the door is closed yet, but I think we're talking about that little door in Alice in Wonderland at this point of opportunity that they have before it shuts completely.
Yeah. One pill makes you larger. One pill makes you small.
That's right. No one
Um,
wants the pill that makes you small, Mike.
that's right. Well, I think Jurgen Klopp's taken that one. Yeah, I was actually watching this game midway through the second half, and I started thinking, I'm like, wow, I couldn't at that point. I still couldn't see Liverpool losing that match. I think to Klopp's point, which I do agree with, in one of his interviews afterwards, he said something like they had to work hard to lose that match,
Oh,
and
for
I
sure.
felt like they did work hard to lose that match.
Yeah.
But when it was 0-0 midway through the second half, I started thinking, I don't think Liverpool are going to score again today.
Yeah.
And I was like, if they don't score again today, I think they're out of the title race.
Yeah.
And then Burnley ended up scoring. And then I looked at the table after the match, and I'm like, I'm not going to rule them out yet.
Yeah. Well, if they play if the same thing happens where against this weekend or on Sunday against United, where they dominate the match and just can't do anything, just totally nothing, then I would say they're out. I mean, they don't have enough matches to figure this out. If this happens 3 matches in a row, then I would say something is definitely wrong, and they're probably out of the running.
Yeah, well, today we'll talk about this weekend's match soon, or in just a minute here.
Yeah.
But after that, they go they go away to Tottenham, and then they go away to West Ham.
Yep.
And their big, long, unbeaten run at home's over now, thanks to the magnificent Burnley and their wonderful, attractive football that they play. But now they go on the road, and they've been terrible away from home this season in the league. Terrible might not be the word, but mediocre.
Yeah.
And you're going to play a Tottenham side who, under Mourinho, are going to sit back and shouldn't give you a thing.
Yeah.
With quality players to counter in Son and Kane. And then if you get through that with a point or maybe 3, then you play West Ham, who aren't as good as Tottenham, but they're in good form at the moment.
Yep.
They're in the top half of the table, and David Moyes has them pretty much set up to play similarly to how Burnley play. Okay, they may play a little bit more attractively than Burnley, but it's going to provide that same test against. They're going to have to try to break down the low block, the bus parked in front of the goal, and figure something out. So I give them those 2 matches in the league to if they can figure it out at Tottenham, at least get a point from that, and then beat West Ham out. Regardless of other results, I'll keep them in the race. But if they can't get those 4 points from those 2 games, then they're done. They better hope they can pick it up to at least finish 4th.
Yeah, especially if Tottenham comes out and does a number on them, that would be both of them actually. If Tottenham and West Ham, like you said, both of them come out on top, that's a crushing defeat based on where they're all sitting in the table right now.
Yeah, I mean they went to Villa Park and gave up 7. That was when they had Virgil van Dijk, I believe.
Yeah.
So and Villa have way more quality in the attacking third than West Ham have, but I don't think it's inconceivable that they go to West Ham and West Ham hit back, or if West Ham sit back and hit them on the break and get a couple set pieces and put 3 past them. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think so at all.
But Patrick, you alluded to the big match this week in the FA Cup, and that is Liverpool against Manchester United, a repeat of the league match from a weekend ago. Patrick, Ole said in his press conference today that he's probably going to rotate some players, but he's going to play a team that he expects can go out there and get the job done. But what do you expect to see from the 11 that he names?
Well, I definitely expect to see. I expect to see from on the front end. I definitely expect to see Cavani out there again, starting. I think you'll see Rashford and Martial on the front as well. And I think what Ole might be doing is trying to set up those quick counterattacking players. So if you have Bruno, Rashford, Martial, and Cavani all up front, you're putting up a lot of quick and also well-placed players like Cavani. So I think they're really going for an opportunity to make the break on the counterattack. That's based on what we've been seeing from them. Like that's what I would do, based on what we're seeing from out of Liverpool lately.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I actually hope he tries to play more open with it being the FA Cup.
Okay.
Now, I do think Rashford will start because he did it against Fulham. Cavani, I would like to see start because he did it against Liverpool, but then he did against Fulham.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he'll play him again. So, 3 days after the Fulham match, or no, it'd be 4 days. He might. I don't know. I would like to see Cavani though. I just feel like you're going to see like a mixed bag. You'll see Rashford play on one side. You'll probably see Dan James or Juan Mata on the other. Probably Dan James because I think he's going to try. He'll probably try and sit back and hit teams on the break. And if there's one thing James does have, it's pace. So it could work out for him on Sunday. It could be a good game for Dan James. And I think you'll see. I don't think Pogba. I think he'll give Pogba a rest. I mean, he'll be on the bench. He'll likely come on, but I don't think he'll start. You might see Matic finally get a start. I hope. I kind of want to see Van de Beek start instead of Bruno in this one too.
Okay.
I know Ole said before the Fulham match that Bruno doesn't need to rest, but kind of think he does. He can't play every minute.
That's Bruno talking, not the manager talking.
And I think there has been a couple games where he started Bruno under the condition that Bruno doesn't necessarily run for every second of 90 minutes.
Yeah.
But I think this is one that you put him and Pogba on the bench and see what the other guys have to offer.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I want to just throw this match away or throw the potential opportunity to win the FA Cup away.
Yeah.
But with our strong position in the league right now, I think you want to protect that potential more than go gung-ho here. Because I think Liverpool now, Klopp's notorious, in my opinion, notoriously bad at naming just awful squads when it comes to like the League Cup and the FA Cup. Just complete rotation, just complete garbage getting thrown out from the bin onto the pitch. And against Aston Villa, when he knew that Aston Villa could only field an under-18 squad, you played just about a full-strength squad. And I think he's going to come back here. He didn't start Salah and Firmino against Burnley on Thursday. I expect them two to start, and I expect just about a full-strength squad from Liverpool.
Yeah. I agree too. I think Jurgen's the kind of manager too to let a lot of the heat that's going on right now get to him and be like, well, fine, we're just going to play the best squad in this cup game and try and smoke United. And I think he just has that mindset of like, well, I don't care about resting people. We just got to win something. So he's going to put out his A squad and see it. But who knows?
Well, I kind of think he should too.
Yeah.
Regardless, because of they're flagging in the league right now. They're not looking like they're gonna, push for the title come May. Although, like we said, we're not ruling them completely out yet.
Yeah.
But this is an opportunity to get a trophy this season. And I do think that he'll look at it like that. He needs to get his team firing again.
Yeah.
Because clearly they did score 4 goals in that Villa match I talked about. That was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that didn't do anything to their confidence. The players knew subconsciously that they were playing against kids.
Yeah.
So,
Well, to me, it kind of like boils down to how seriously does Jurgen think that he needs a trophy from the FA Cup? And like, if he comes out there with a crack squad, then to me, in my mind, I'm thinking that he is thinking that maybe he really needs to get the trophy from the FA Cup because he's worried about their position within the league. But if he comes out there and puts out a mediocre squad and rests a lot of his big names for Tottenham and gives them like a week of rest, then to me that's like, well, he still feels that he has a shooting chance for the title, and he'd rather rest players than put forth the effort for the FA Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I understand your viewpoint, but I think to me, if he plays a really strong squad against us on Sunday, I think he's more so than wanting to win the competition, because I feel like he's shown in his 5 years plus that he's already been in England. He doesn't really care about domestic cups.
Yeah.
I think he's just trying to get his team back into form.
Yeah.
Any way possible. And I do think that he will rotate the squad a little bit. But I think you're going to see Allison in goal. If Matip made it through the match against Burnley okay, being their only fit senior center back, as he puts it, he'll start. Probably Fabinho starts too. He might rotate the fullbacks, especially since Alexander-Arnold has been poor lately too. He's been one of the most poor players. But I think in terms of the attack, he'll go with the quote-unquote strongest lineup.
Oh, for sure.
So it'll be interesting to see. You could be right. Maybe he does see the FA Cup as his best chance of getting a trophy. Although I would think they're still in the Champions League. He's won that with them.
That's true.
He's also won the Premier League with them, but that was kind of a different. But at this point, last year, midway, they were 12, 13 points clear already?
Yeah.
So he wasn't necessarily in a title race.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Before we go, Patrick, do you have a prediction for Sunday?
I have a prediction. Gonna be 2-1. United come ahead. United 2, Liverpool 1.
What was my prediction when we played City in the Carabao Cup semifinal? 1-1, go to penalties.
Yeah, probably.
We'd win on penalties. Well, my prediction here is 1-1, go to penalties. And I think Liverpool, if it goes to penalties, I think Liverpool would have the edge.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because he would put Milner on in the 121st minute just to take a penalty.
Yeah.
save that last substitution for that point. And that would be the difference.
For sure.
Liverpool 4-3 on penalties. God, I hope I'm wrong.
What?
I said, God, I hope I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong too. For sure.
I hope you're right, Patrick.
I definitely think in my 2-1 prediction, I definitely think it's going to be 1-1 at the end of the 90 minutes, and then we're definitely going to go into the extra 30. And then we're going to come ahead 2-1. But I think going into the first 90 minutes, I think we're going to end the 90 minutes in a draw.
I think I'd rather us lose 3-0, 4-0 than have to go to extra time and end up losing anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't want those extra 30 minutes on the players' legs, and I don't want to.
I don't think Jurgen wants them either.
What's that?
I don't think Jurgen wants them either.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think either of them really want to go to the extra 30 minutes.
Maybe they can have a gentleman's agreement and do like the Carabao Cup and say, hey, if it's even after 90, let's just go straight to penalties and call it a day.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. We'll see. Could be an interesting Sunday.
Yeah.
But the curtain is now closing on the theater of football. Patrick, thank you for joining me as always.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
And let us know, all of you out there, what you thought of our takes on the topics we talked about today. Either if you're watching on YouTube, let us know in the comments section, or if you're listening podcast, or even if you're watching on YouTube, just as always, hit us up on Twitter at Theater of Football. Everyone enjoy the FA Cup action over the weekend. I believe there's a Premier League match too on Saturday between Villa and Newcastle, one of the makeup fixtures. So
Yep.
Enjoy plenty of football to watch. So enjoy the weekend.
Very good. Cheers, all.
Oh, hello. Thank you for watching the Theater of Football. If you think Mike got it wrong yet again, please leave your thoughts in the comment section below.